what we do is we help our clients, developers, landowners, or even bigger developers to get the best and highest use of their property. They come to us, they hire us because of that. We help them with rezoning, subdivision, any neighborhood amendment or official community amendment, if they need any permit for the changes on their land. And we get approval. We process the project, we do all the city meetings and submissions, coordinate with subconsultants, and eventually we'll make it happen.
Welcome back to the workshop presented by Aplin Martin. On today's episode, we are joined by two members of Aplin Martin's development planning team, Samira Khayambashi, Senior Project Manager, and Stella Xie, Development Planner. Often confused for an infrastructure planner or even a party planner, urban planners play a highly complex role in the land development process. From submitting applications to municipalities, liaising with technical consultants, and engaging with the public, planners are often involved from project start to finish. Stella, Samira, and I discuss how their group goes about formulating plans for a built environment to improve and sustain a lasting quality of life for the communities around them. It was great to hear them share their personal histories, working relationship, and stories within the industry, and I hope you all enjoy. Before we get into the actual meat of development planning, I'd like to get a brief background about you both. Where'd you guys grow up? Where'd you go to school? And how many years of experience do you each have?
Sure. Should I start?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. I'm Samira Khayambashi. I'm from Iran. I immigrated to Canada 15 years ago, landed in Halifax, Nova Scotia. My background is architecture, actually, and architecture was always my passion. But unfortunately, locally, I couldn't find any post-secondary program to continue my education in architecture in Halifax back then. So I decided to try planning. For several reasons. One, there was no other choice.
I mean, not a bad fallback.
Kidding, but to be honest, my dad is a planner and architect, and he always told me, if you try planning, you would like it much better. But I didn't think I would like it, and I wasn't happy at the beginning. Then in the middle of my education, I loved it, and I'm so happy that I changed my major. I graduated from Master of Planning from Dalhousie in 2016, and quickly after joined Aplin Martin.
Okay, so then
10 years.
So in Dalhousie, so then you at some point then came across
to
country.
BC, yes.
Okay, so when did you move out west?
Should I say?
Right.
Well, obviously you're from Ontario. You
Yes.
know how snowy it gets. I'm
Yes.
not. Nova Scotia wasn't that different. Mm-hmm. So weather was the main reason, I would say.
Yeah.
But also I wanted to be in a bigger city, and one of the reasons that I chose Vancouver was it was a bigger city, but also the weather was good. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to try it. Even though it was east to west, again, another migration, I would call.
Yeah. Were there any other city stops on the way, or was there any like close seconds that you were choosing when you were debating your city?
No.
No? That was just it. You're like, that one, weather best in Canada. That's where we'll stop.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Stella, what about yourself?
My name is Stella Xie. I grew up in China, where I also completed my undergraduate degree in urban planning. After the graduation, I worked at a city institute, design institute for about 1.5. And then I started asking myself, is that the career path that I really like? Because back then I always had those dreams to explore the other countries other than my hometown.
Yeah.
So I decided to study abroad. So that actually led me to UBC, and I completed my master's degree, Master of Urban Design in UBC. And yeah, after that, I have been joining Aplin Martin for about 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Again, now it's almost same question that to Samira. Were there any other universities you were looking at, or how did you kind of land on UBC?
That's a good question because I was also looking at Toronto.
Okay.
But the weather actually scares me.
Oh, you guys are both against
Sorry
it.
to say that, but
Trust me, I don't like it as much as I don't like it either.
do you
Don't worry
blame
about
us?
it. Yeah. No, I've been looking at the view for the past couple times.
Yeah, because my hometown is in south of China. So we never snow. Even in winter, we are like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Toronto, like it's out of the page. So
Yeah.
I decided to come to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And UBC actually has a great urban design master program,
Yeah.
which I like. Oh, that's a choice that I would like to proceed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now let's get into kind of the development planning and what you guys actually do at Aplin. So what are each of your roles and responsibilities?
I am currently a development planner. My role is leading the projects, leading the planning projects, communicating with municipality, teams, client, and make sure that everything actually could be moved in the right direction and meeting the municipality's requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I work closely with Samira, and I also work closely with the other intermediate and junior team members.
I'm a senior project manager in development planning team, and my role is to manage projects, budget, timeline, deal with clients obviously, and make sure that everything is on track. I act as agent most of the times on the applications, and liaison with municipalities, attend council meetings, public hearing, etc. And I work with Stella closely.
Very nice. So how big is the team currently of development planners here at Aplin? Is it just you two? Do you guys have any others?
I should say that planning has, as you know, two different departments, many departments, and we try not to overlap, but then there are some roles that they have to work with both teams. One is the designer and sometimes analyst. So we work with each other, but in development planning, we are three project managers, one development manager, one analyst, and one designer. But we also work with community planning, and we have an admin. Yeah.
Very cool. So you guys together then work very closely then as
Yes.
a team.
Yeah,
So-
in general, like around 10. And sometimes when we have the most people, we are like about 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not super big, but yeah, we work really close. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. So now let's actually get into your actual work and what development planning is. So for those that don't know, if you could define development planning in your own words, and then the role of it in a project.
So I was thinking maybe I start with planning first, just because many people don't know what planning is.
Perfect.
Even in our company, some people think we're doing infrastructure planning. Not in our office and company, but people thought that I'm a wedding planner. So, which is not a bad thing. I can plan weddings.
She's plugging her
plan my own
business. Yeah,
wedding.
side business.
But I want to explain a bit about planning in a simple way, that what it is that planners do. Just imagine whatever relates to human settlement, where they work, where they live, where they have fun, how they get to it, what's in the area that they interact with each other, and how they do it. It's planning. We plan it in advance. We plan it for today and future. Now we work with other professions, obviously. We don't do it by ourselves only. We work with engineering, transportation, environmental, and many other professionals, as well as municipalities, to make sure everything goes smoothly. But yes, we plan the area that you live, work, and have fun. But as I mentioned before, we have two departments, and I know that you're you're having another podcast about community planning, so I'm not going to go into it.
Yep.
But development planning, we both work in development planning. What we do is we help our clients, developers, landowners, or even bigger developers to get the best and highest use of their property. They come to us, they hire us because of that. We help them with rezoning, subdivision, any neighborhood amendment or official community amendment, if they need any permit for the changes on their land. And we get approval. We process the project, we do all the city meetings and submissions, coordinate with subconsultants, and eventually we'll make it happen. But you want to talk about maybe
maybe
roles?
I can talk about the team structures and roles
exactly.
a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we have PMs, project managers. They are like more overseeing the planning team, overseeing the project, the budget, the timeline, and also they're doing some business development, client meetings, etc. And then we have development planner, who is more responsible about leading the projects, coordinating with all the teams, coordinating with clients and the municipalities, and making sure it's moving, the project is moving on the right direction and on the right time manner. And then we have intermediate and junior staff, like planning analyst, who is doing more like analyzing the policy by law and writing the letters and the rationales, also coordinating with the subs. And then we have the planning designer, who is doing the layout, doing the graphic, or doing the public information meeting boards, all those graphic related work. Yeah, and meanwhile we also have planning AA, as well as sometimes we have planning intern. Yeah, that's
so taking basically exactly taking like municipal information or private information and then presenting it to the public so everyone can kind of understand it.
That's part of it. Yeah, that one is part of it. But we start the project from feasibility study, what the client can get on their side, what is the best and highest use, and then if they want to move forward, we submit the application, process the application, work with the municipality. Challenges happen, obviously. And we try to solve them and eventually get approval.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm, say, for example, a landowner, I have a blank site, I say, hey, Samira, hey, Stella, I have this plot of land X. I send it to you guys, and you guys can kind of then go from there, analyze it. What can I put on it? What's available to me, and how can I maximize the use?
Exactly.
That's correct. Yeah.
Very cool. So now, where in BC have you guys kind of completed this work? Is it all over? Are you guys centralized in a certain area? Are there different areas you guys are focusing on? Or what kind of area development or plan do you guys cover?
Actually, we work across all like multiple municipalities and regions.
Yep.
Most of our work is in BC, Lower Mainland, First Valley Regional District, Vancouver Island, and Okanagan. Some places in West Kelowna and other growing cities. Most recently, we also started working on some of the projects in Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, actually each municipality is different. They have different bylaws, different policies, different procedures. Mm-hmm. So I think a big of our role is to understand the differences and help projects adapt depending on where they are located.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges and advantages then I can ask in working with, say, a smaller municipality versus a larger municipality? Do you guys see any advantages or disadvantages? Is it easier to work with one versus the other? Or kind of how do you, because in Ontario it's like that, right? Some smaller municipalities are a little bit easier to work with, right? Because the guidelines are a little less strict, you could say. Is it kind of the same out here as well? Or how do you guys find that, working with different municipalities?
Yeah, I think each municipality is definitely different. Big municipality like Surrey, they have more comprehensive and direct guidelines and the procedures. So actually they are a bit easier to work with as well. for some of the municipalities, they are small. They don't have a lot of procedures. And it's a little bit challenging for us to understand, what actually the process is going to be.
Yeah, what do you need? Tell me.
Yeah,
What requirements? And they sometimes say, we don't know because this is the first time.
Yeah, but that's also our value, right? Client hires us because those are not well known yet.
Yeah.
That's why they hire us to figure it out. So it's challenging, but it's also our role to make sure that we communicate with each municipalities and understand the procedure, and then guide client to get through that process.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to add something that, yes, bigger municipalities, obviously, they have a lot more on their plate. So sometimes the process might take longer. But smaller municipalities, even though the process is hard to get, they sometimes work with you more closely. Like, you feel closer to them because they don't have enough staff to take care of everything. So you have to help them to navigate through the process.
Yeah.
And I myself feel connected to smaller municipalities, not more than Suri, because we have a lot of projects in Suri.
Yeah, of course.
But then I feel that some smaller municipalities, because there's only one or two planners, sometimes only one planner in the staff, we had great relationships with them too.
Very cool. Now, addressing the challenges, is there something you guys would kind of look to change, or is it something you guys would look to improve almost to make the process of that easier? Because I know, especially in Ontario, sometimes it could be frustrating when you're waiting on a project and it's taking like the deadline and all of that, and it's taking so long kind of to get feedback. Is there something maybe that you guys have your own ideas, or something that's currently ongoing that you think can improve kind of that, like you said, waiting game, or some of those, I guess, frustrating points during work?
So one of the things that I think I would love to change, and I think it might help the timeline, is that, in many municipalities, especially recently, you provide all the studies, and those studies and reports needs to be done by professionals. They sign and seal. They actually do the site visit. They're qualified, and they take the responsibility for their reports. Then we send it to the municipality. Municipality reviews them, but also they ask for peer review. Then peer review happens, a bit back and forth. Again, we go back to the municipality, and municipality sends us their comments. What I would like to see happen is that one of these two steps, either municipality review or peer review, would be removed, because obviously both of them are qualified.
Yeah.
If you're reviewing, why are we sending it out? If they are reviewing, why you are also taking your time to review? That's one of the things that I would be happy to see.
Yeah, almost again to expedite and speed up kind of what you guys are already providing.
It will help a lot. Yeah.
Very good. I don't know if Stella, if you had anything else to add?
Yeah, I think one thing we can do to expedite the process is, when the project started, we meet with city for a pre-app meeting. So from the pre-app meeting, we can understand a bit more about what the city's point of view regarding our projects, and what are the other outstanding items they are looking for, and then we can work through that actually more efficient. So I think pre-app actually is a very good point for all the projects if they wanted to do a formal application later on.
Yeah, almost getting kind of not getting the answers before you're writing the test, but getting the actual knowing what you want to submit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Versus, okay, I'll put this in, and then they're like, oh no, I actually wanted you to go left instead of right on this.
Yeah. Sometimes, like some of the projects, they have spent so much time, so much money to prepare those sub reports, environmental reports, or those like the other technical reports, geotechnical reports. But eventually, that actually the proposal is not going to be supportive by the city. That means like you are losing the time frame for that.
And money.
And money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something again too, like in engineering in Ontario as well, right? If we knew the direction already from the start, right, we're able to provide more value.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some municipalities, they actually tell us, okay, send us this big package, which includes a lot of drawings, like architectural engineering drawings. And you're thinking, but I want, just for pre-application, but you're thinking, but I want to know if what I'm proposing is possible, or I have to change it completely. So I spent like a couple of $100,000 on this package for nothing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. Pre-app is really important. I wish they could make it more simple.
Yeah. Well, now I want to switch gears then and talk about a little bit about the provisional housing deadline. How has this impacted planning and housing, and then the differing reports from the municipalities that have been provided?
I might be able to speak to it a bit, and I think what you mean is housing needs assessment and official community plan update and their deadlines. So whoever works in land development in BC knows that province came out a couple of years ago and ordered municipalities to update their official community plans and zoning bylaws within a certain timeline, with a deadline, really strict deadline, because of a couple of bills that came out. It was about housing. They wanted to solve housing issues and make everything more efficient. Now, I appreciate it, and I think it was well needed. We should have done it before. Some municipalities, OCP or official community plans, were like decades old, 40, 50 years. So I'm not joking. It was, everything was amended in the city.
More than needed.
Yeah, so it was well needed. I think our issue with that was that all of them happened at the same time. And obviously, every municipality has a certain capacity. And not only we had issues with lack of staff or their time, but also there were projects that, let's say I had an application, active application already. I was amending the OCP already, and then this came out. So the city told me, well, you have to wait because we need to understand where that update will be, and we don't want your proposal to be different than what we're having in our OCP. And because long-range planning was working on the OCP update, not development planning at the city, so there was no proper communication. They shouldn't actually communicate.
They weren't actually coherent with each other.
Exactly. So it delayed a lot of our projects. Now, I know in the long run, it will be really helpful. I'm not going to go in details of what those changes will be and how it affects housing, because it's a separate, I would say, separate subject for a podcast.
Another day. Topic for another day that I feel like you can go on and on
But
about.
I think it was well needed, and I'm really thankful that municipalities took it on. It was just, I think, the timing of it, and everything happened at the same time that delayed the projects.
Yeah, it was like sounds like it was like a lot of information provided and maybe not the exact context for all of them.
No, the issue mostly was the timeline, because these are big projects that they take on, right? OCP is a huge document. It needs a couple of years of consultation, preparing reports, study, and everything. And then on top of that, zoning bylaw update. On top of that, all those bills that came out, multiplex and everything. I think it was too much, and too much of unknown, that I don't blame municipalities or local government. It was hard to understand, okay, what needed to be done. So it took them a bit to understand how it works. But eventually, most of them made it.
Most of them made it. Hopefully they all made it.
Hopefully they all made it. But the reports that we see are looking good. Some of them are not finished though.
Yeah, but most of them are actually done that.
Okay, so then Stella, I'll go to you.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on individuals or I guess or entities that are pro or against this?
You mean against the deadline?
Yes, against the deadline, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely can see the debate between those two, because in the reality, we do have housing shortage. Yeah, and people are like, we need more housing, we need more density, people need more housing. So that's a reality. So if without the deadline, those changes will be, you don't know when the changes will be done. But I also get the point that why people are against it, because, for example, municipalities, they need a lot of staff capacity, I would say, to make that happen. So some of the municipalities, actually, they're struggling with
sheer
the staff
workforce.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also some concerns from the public. For example, infrastructure. Do we have enough infrastructure to support that density, that much housings?
Mm-hmm.
So people are worried about that. They don't have enough infrastructure support. So I can see why some people are actually against the deadline, because they want the city to spend enough time, enough reports, enough consultation to update their OCP. And that OCP is going to be beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, you want to have kind of the correct obviously the correct background information before making such large decisions
Yeah,
for the general
exactly.
public.
And
Yeah.
usually OCP needs a lot of public consultation, a lot of rounds. It can happen for a few years because public all have their right to provide the feedbacks. So with this deadline, the public consultation has to be happen in a very short time manners. So I think some of the public actually has big caution about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they missed some of the information that came out too because everything was kind of rushed and they couldn't do it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, people had concerns.
No, yeah. So that's what I was going to ask next. So, kind of within your field or from other people in general, what's kind of been the general feedback for this, or the concerns that you've heard?
Well, I think, especially with developers, they were worried because their projects were delayed, and it was unknown. And it was out of their hands. Like, we have developers in this province that are quite capable of doing the process, hiring a third party and doing the process shorter and making sure that everything is okay. But obviously, municipal process is more lengthy, and they have more roadblocks that for a lot of things they have to go to council and ask for direction. They have to present it to council, so it takes longer. And that team is not just working on that report. They have other things to do. So I know that my clients, our clients, were not happy, but some people were happy because they were hoping that in the new OCP that comes out, the designation on their property would be something that they always wanted, and they don't need to actually apply for it themselves. So that also was something that I saw.
Yeah. So again, it's a lot. It almost depends what side or what designation you have, and then you kind of almost have to adjust on the fly while hoping you're still going to be able to achieve the end result that you were wanting.
And if you were active and you had enough, I would say, capacity and knowledge to do it yourself, obviously you wanted to do it yourself.
Yeah.
But people who were not in land development, they're homeowners, they're sitting in their house, and all of a sudden, for example, TOD came out, like transit-oriented development came out, and they could have 8-story on their lot instead of a house.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were happy, right?
I was gonna say, I just won the almost won the lottery, right? You're able to, you have an extra, an extra 4 stories on top of what you could have done originally, right?
So. Yeah. So there were different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So now, kind of dovetailing on that and moving forward, what are the next big steps and what do you see for the future of development planning within your group here at Aplin?
I wanted to talk about market a bit,
Sure.
mostly because what we work with depends on market and land development in BC, especially, and in Canada. And everyone knows that it's been slow. Planning usually sees the changes much before everyone else.
Yep.
So if we saw it, let's say, a couple of years ago, development is seeing it today, and construction will see it in a couple of years.
Yeah, for tomorrow, for
So
example.
so it is going to be a minimum 5-6 years from where we start working on a project until it gets constructed, and that's minimal, sometimes even longer. Unfortunately, planning saw it last couple of years, and we still see it. And even if today something major happens, there will be a gap in the next few years. And then we might see that everything gets better. So what I think is happening, at least in the development community, they are not really hopeful, but we are hopeful. I think it will get better in a year or so, at least for planning.
Yeah.
And then the sequences.
More so into the
yeah,
future.
exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I totally agree with Samira. Yeah, right now the market is a little bit slow in Vancouver, in Canada, I would say.
In general, yeah.
In general, yeah. Even in the other area of the world, in China, in US,
Yeah.
everywhere is quite slow. Yeah, but I also wanted to provide a lens to this question. Yeah, even in the reality, right now the development is quite slow. But I think the future development, the technology like AI, is really starting to change the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now everyone uses AI like ChatGPT, etc. Yeah, so those AI tools actually help planner as well as developer, I would say, work smarter, not just faster.
Yeah.
Work smarter. So those AI tools actually could help us to write rationale, or even help us to analyze the bylaws and policies now.
Yeah.
And they also can flag the compliance of your package before you even submit applications. So in general, I think it could make our work a little bit smarter, even though right now Vancouver has slow and cautious approach to the development. But within that reality, if we can leverage AI and data strategically and efficiently, we can make the right decision early on. So which, is another success, I would say.
Yeah, so
That's
finding,
for the future.
it's almost providing additional value to your client to something that they don't even know about yet, basically.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'd like to look into the past and a little bit of your past project experience and locations you guys have worked in. What's either been your favorite project that you've worked on or favorite area that you've worked in, and why?
I know that we're development planners and work with applications and everything, but my favorite ones are land use plans and neighborhood plan amendments. And the reason for it is that you have some kind of control of people's lives. You put a color somewhere, obviously not just because of the color, but then the land use that you specify and everything around it will shape and control people's lives and lifestyle for the next couple of decades.
Yeah.
So I know it's a big responsibility, but I like it.
Yeah, actually, I also like land use plans because it's so challenging and it's also shaping where and how people live, study, and they call it at home for the next decades. But I also have some other areas that I like. For example, public consultation. It's challenging too, but in different ways. Because when we are in a communication with public, it's not just the planning and the technical things anymore. We are also a listener. So we are hearing their concerns, we are communicating with them, and we are also translating the planning language to something that public could actually understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite challenging, but I think it's also somewhere that I feel like our work is valuable because you are actually a listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now through these different kind of areas and all that you guys have worked on, what's been the biggest learning lesson or experience that you've had that you still kind of remember earlier on or more recently in your career?
When I started, I received a message from my managers, and she asked me, can you contact this QEP regarding this environmental assessment? I stared at her message and I said, what is QEP?
You're like, did she mean that for me, or is that you're like, is that you to me?
Yeah, my brain went straight to, a person whose initial is QEP?
Yeah.
I actually look into the address book. I can't find anyone. And I all of a sudden, and I thought, it may be Queen Elizabeth Park. It's related to environmental, right? It should be making sense. I'm so smart. It should be this. And I was trying to figure out how can I contact and talk to a park. Yeah, that was funny. But because back to that time, I wasn't that confident. I didn't want to show people that actually I didn't know that term.
Yeah.
So I didn't go and ask the question. I wanted to find out everything by myself. But yeah, later on, I definitely know what is QEP, right?
You're like, now I know, by the way. So what does it stand for?
You want a question? Yeah, it's definitely, everybody knows it's qualified environmental professions.
Yes.
Yeah, not in Elizabeth Park.
No, not QE Park at all. But I live so close to QE Park. My mom goes to QE Park every day. Yeah, so that actually it was a lesson for me, because after that, since then, whenever I'm not sure, I just go and ask a question to
Just
double
ask.
check, right?
Yeah.
It's way easier and way less embarrassing.
Yeah.
But
So I usually don't laugh at my mistakes when I go back, but this one might be okay because it turned out fine at the end.
Fine.
So it was years ago, and we had a meeting with one of our good clients. We had a few projects at the time with them. And at the end of the meeting, I wasn't actually in that meeting, but at the end of the meeting, the client just pointed out to a spot on a map and said, we bought this land, we want you to send surveyors there and start an application. So the team talked to me, asked me to coordinate it. I asked the survey crew to go out and do the survey, and eventually when the topo survey was ready, I sent it to the to the client's team, and they told me, this is not the land that we bought. We bought the property to the north. It was super embarrassing, and obviously we apologized. We didn't charge them, and we sent the crew to the proper address, which was next door.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were working on the project after a few months, and we were trying to brainstorm and find a way to make the density and yield work, because the developable area was not enough. There were a lot of challenges on the site, environmental challenges. And I was thinking out loud, and I told the client, what if you buy one of these neighboring sites and make the developable area better and make the project more feasible? And then I made a joke of, we also have the...
You already got the work done. You already got it done.
Yeah,
why don't you try?
Property, and we have the topo survey for that.
There you go.
And he laughed, and then he was like, it's not a bad idea. And eventually they bought it.
Oh,
And it
that's
turned out good, because they made the developable area and yield and density work.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lesson learned for me that to double check with the clients whatever they say in the meeting or on the phone or in passing, let's say in an event, to confirm in an email in an email that this is what we want, this is the address,
Yeah.
and we want you to do this.
Yeah.
That was a lesson learned.
Yeah.
It wasn't solely my mistake, but it was an important lesson.
Yeah, it's always important. Even I still do it today, and I tell like my younger staff or my junior staff as well, right? It's one thing to have something on a phone call or just to hear it in passing, but it's always like it literally does. Even if you don't get a response, hey, by the way, this is what we spoke about. Here's XYZ that we're going to be following up in, right? So at least you have that second confirmation that's not going anywhere of what was spoken about during that.
Yeah, I
true.
totally agree.
So I'd like to end off with this one then. What is some advice that you would give to a younger professional or your younger self that's looking to get into planning?
I can start with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say be patient and don't stop comparing my progress to the others. Because to be honest, like in the reality, everybody has their own pace and everybody's journey actually is quite different. So just don't and stop comparing yourself to the others.
Yeah.
Your co-workers or your classmates, whatever. That just stop comparing that. And also I think just don't get discouraged. Whenever you feel that your career path is not straight, it's not clear, because sometimes your career path could not be straight.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Like life happens. Yeah.
It always
Life happens.
has shapes, curves, whatever. Yeah, but it's totally okay. Just be patient. Yeah. So you will have your own success one day. Yeah.
Almost create your own expectations for yourself, right? You and your neighbor aren't the same person. You're gonna have different things that happen to you, and you take in different things. Everyone has a different personality.
Yeah, but like when I was younger, I always like compare myself to the others. Why?
Yeah, everyone does.
They
I know.
had a better job than me. I was even smarter. Why like they got this job that this I couldn't get the interview? Like those kind of stuff. But I'm telling myself now, like just stop comparing. Everybody has their own journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can say that first I want to tell my younger self to be confident. I wasn't confident when I started as working as planning technician. I keep saying I was shy, and everyone is like, I can't see you being shy. But I was not attending any events, or I wasn't confident to take on more responsibility. And I would say a big part of it was because I was an immigrant and English was not my first language. As an ESL, I always felt like I shouldn't speak loud because people will hear what I'm saying. I shouldn't speak on the phone in the office because I was worried that people would judge me. Not that they have ever judged me, but it was in my head, and eventually it got better. My confidence got better, and then I realized that communication is just not language. You have to know a lot of ways to communicate.
Yep.
So I would say be confident. Also, for someone who goes into planning, I want to tell them, appreciate it, understand the effect that you will have on people's lives. If you know what difference you can make to someone's life today and future, you know what important role you have. And maybe I can give you an example. Imagine you have two streets, Street A and Street B. In Street A, you have mixed use, ground level, commercial, local stores, and village type. People are walking around obviously because they want to go to those stores. Street B, you have towers, everything residential. People to get their whatever they want to get from grocery stores, they have to go to big boxes, they have to drive. You don't see people on the street. These two lifestyles are different because two different planners thought differently. So whatever you do, you should understand that you're getting into a profession that affects their lives today, tomorrow, and maybe next couple of decades.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome answer again, because like you said, you guys are the first people to touch a project, right? And you see it all the way through to completion, which I can also imagine is quite satisfying for the both of you. So
Yeah, actually urban planning is a huge category. There are a lot of different areas under planning category, like social planning, heritage planning, like development planning, a lot. So yeah, when you started the planning, maybe you can't fully understand what the topic, what the category that you are interested in when you were at school, when you wanted to study planning. But yeah, it could be very rewarding when you dive into the area that you actually like to. Yeah, I would say, if people want to study planning, be patient, be open-minded, you will like it.
Awesome. All right. Well, unless there's anything to add, that's all we have for today. I'd like to thank Stella and Samira again for joining us, sharing your knowledge and experience. Thank you to listening to the workshop. Stay tuned for the next episode and have a great day.